Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir,
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
No, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Scandal and vice, or sugar and spice. It's naughty but nice.
Hello. Welcome to the Naughty But Nice Show. I'm your host, Rob Shooter. Joining us every Monday is our friend Garrett Vogel from Z100. Garrett, are you there?
Whoop, there we go. You got to turn the microphone on when you're going to talk. You know, eventually I'll get this thing. You know, we've been doing it for a year now. So I'll get it. But we're good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
You've got it, my friend. You've got it. Hey, Garrett, we've got a ton of gossip, so let's jump right in because do you know what time it is?
Oh, tea
It is tea time. Wow, so at the top of the show, Sharon Osbourne has exited the talk amid all the controversy. Was she fired? Was she pushed out? We'll get into that in a moment. Let's give you the details.
Yes.
So after several days of negotiations, talking about the talk and what is going to happen, they put out a statement saying Sharon has departed the show. It's a pretty tough statement, Garrett. I was kind of surprised. It said after their reviewer, they had concluded that Sharon's behaviour towards her co-hosts does not align with the values for a respectful workplace that they have there at CBS. It goes on to also blame the showrunners. They are basically the producers, the people in charge of the show. So it blames those on not properly preparing the hosts for such a complex discussion about race. And moving forward, they are going to coordinate some workshops, some listening sessions, some training to make sure not only producers but also the hosts and the crew and everybody involved in the show will be better informed. More education, I think that's a good thing. But Sharon Osbourne, are you surprised, Garrett? Personally, I thought this could end no other way. It got to a point where the standoff was so extreme. I'm not sure I thought this would end any other way.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was so weird we all know Sharon Osbourne is very outspoken, right? And for them to now speak up, it's like, where have you been the last 10 years? You know what I mean? This is not like the first time she is, but it's weird. We know who Sharon is as a person, and now to be like, you know what, enough is enough. There's more to it that we just don't see, I'm thinking.
Times do change, though,
Of
and
course.
it is amazing. Eventually, your bad behaviour does catch up with you. We saw it in the cases of the Harvey Weinsteins and people that got away with stuff for a very long time. I think the world has changed a little bit, and stuff that we probably could have said, Garrett, I hope we didn't, but we might have 10 years ago. We might not say, hopefully. Today, we wouldn't. We're very sort of plugged in, and I hope aware of everything and everybody else. But Sharon's out, so I hit the phones, and I asked my sources what happened. They said it was mutual. The show did not really want her back. There was no way she could go back to work with these ladies, with that crew, after everything she had said. So they didn't want her back. Also, too, Sharon didn't want to go back. So it really was a mutual decision. And the fact Sharon has said nothing yet. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, Sharon was doing a press conference. She was on a media tour. She said nothing. That tells me she got paid a lot of money.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Rob Shooter, do you see this as a, this is our way out of dealing with Sharon anymore? Like, CBS has been trying to find like a way out, and this is their like, aha, we finally got one. And the other, the two part of this, and you can answer best. Mm-hmm. This is like the third or fourth big story, not just here, just in general, that has been released on a Friday afternoon. Do they do that specifically in the fact that it'll hold over on the press for 3 days and get the most attention than anything else?
Yeah, they call it a news dump. It's not the nicest expression, is it? A news dump, and it often happens on a Friday when big news that you don't want people to talk about, you put it out on a Friday, hoping they will move on over the weekend. And there's some truth to that, particularly in a world that's so fast.
Right.
The world that we live in, information comes and goes so fast. So that's the reason they did that. Also, too, did they want to get rid of Sharon? This brings up a bigger conversation about the talk. The numbers are terrible.
Right.
It has not been doing very well. So for a while, it was competing with The View. It did really well. Now I think it's near the bottom, if not last, in all the daytime shows. The show is only on the air because it's really cheap. To put a soap opera on or a game show, it's more expensive than The Talk. In fact, the only person left at The Talk earning any money is Sharon Osbourne. She earns the most. She gets paid the most. So now that she's gone, they're actually really going to save a lot of money. I predict they'll let the show go on maybe till the summer, the end of the year, but I think The Talk is probably over. What I'm hearing is they might put Drew Barrymore in that slot.
And
So
that show's
Drew,
doing trouble.
not very well, but if they move it to a better slot, 9 a.m., some markets it's not on at all. If they give that the talk slot, then they can put something else back in Drew's slot. It's all a game of musical chairs here, but Sharon is out. Brings us to our poll question of the day. Sharon's out of the talk. Will you watch it without Sharon? Will you watch it without Sharon? Yes or no? Go and vote on our Twitter page at Naughty Nice Rob, or our Facebook page, which is Naughty Gossip, and be sure to check that tomorrow to hear your results. Garrett Love, what are you working on?
All right. Well, staying on that story of Sharon Osbourne, her best friend Piers Morgan actually is kind of stirring the pot again with Meghan Markle. He really seems just desperate at this point, you know. So he's questioning, you know, the secret wedding that Meghan Markle talked about with Prince Harry before the big extravagant ball that we all got to know and see on television. But he's saying that he questions their secret wedding and also claims that her passport was taken away. So this is what he said. He goes, but far more serious was the sensational implication that Archie was barred from being a prince because of his skin color. And remember that Meghan said that, you know, someone within the castle said, well, we can't name him a prince because he might be black, you know, and then no one named names, you know, and of course Piers Morgan said, I just don't believe it, you know, furthering this story even more, and I think it's just furthering his career more. But he also reveals, he also reveals that he was asked to apologize or leave his morning show, and of course we know how that story played out. He walked off the show. Ironically enough, the guy who started the fight with him has replaced him on TV. By the way, too. I mean,
Alex, he's very handsome. I like him.
Very good looking guy. So it's so interesting. And you know what? I was thinking about this over the weekend too, Rob Shooter. I think, you know what would be like the icing on the cake for this whole story? Meghan Markle takes over on the talk. How crazy would that be?
Meghan Markle takes over on the talk. Piers, in Britain, he's a hero, so we should point out, it's really interesting. In America, I think we are team Meghan generally, but in Britain, it's the opposite. Piers is on the cover of newspapers. He's walking down the street and people are cheering. She did make some mistakes in the interview, and it's like if you take the stand in a trial and you say one thing that isn't totally true, then they paint you as a liar for the rest of that trial. And the same's happening with Meghan. They did not get married 3 days before. It is technically impossible in Britain, the Church of England. They can't do that. So that didn't happen. Passport being taken off her. The problem with that is she went on about 7 trips afterwards internationally. So she had to have a passport. So she got a passport. And then the colour of Archie's skin and the fact that he's not a prince, that is not true either. Technically, the monarch can only bestow titles on certain people in the family, and little Archie did not fall within those parameters, so that makes sense too. But overall, I still think Meghan did a really amazing interview and told what happened. It was the tone of it overall. Yes, some of the details were off, but Piers is doing what Piers does here. He's controversial. He's a provocateur. He's almost like Britain's Howard Stern, Sean Hannity type character who say really wild things and get a ton of attention and make a lot of money from it. It's just not going away, though, because he doesn't want it to. He's now made a business, like a cottage industry, out of being anti Meghan Markle. For me, it's too exhausting. I just don't know
big
if I
time.
can
Like it just reeks of desperation, though. At this point, like move on. Like if you want to be a journalist that you claim to be, move on from it. Like you're making a career out of one person at this point. I was also thinking real quick too about this wedding that, claims wasn't 3 days ago. The whole point of them having a secret wedding was that the rest of the world didn't need to know about it. So they didn't even need to say it, and they still did. So now we're going to hold it to them that, well, it wasn't 3 days ago, obviously. Like, the whole point of a secret wedding is it was a secret.
But she did tell it. Like, so Meghan does... I see both sides here. As a Brit, it's a very complicated position because I do see both sides, and each country does have a radically different opinion. Piers doesn't want to be a serious journalist. Piers wants us talking about him, and that's exactly what we're doing. So I hate it because he's sort of won. He really has won. Like, he might have lost his job. He'll have another.
He's one of few people that I go, ugh.
I know. Even the Kardashians, who are deliberately naughty to get attention. I sort of, Bethany Frankel's the queen of this. She does stuff just to get attention.
Are you going to the wedding?
It bothers me less. No, I'm not going to that wedding, and I am not going to be watching Piers Morgan's new show. Another really controversial story today. Woody Allen is saying he is innocent in a new interview. So Woody's saying that actors who have distanced themselves from his films, the list is quite long, Colin Firth, Kate Winslet, Timothy Chalamet, are, quote, well-meaning but foolish. There's a new rare interview, CBS Sunday Morning. They taped it actually last year. That's interesting.
Wow.
They taped it in July 2020 in his home, and now it's airing on Paramount Plus, which is their streaming service. They're going to pair it together with a Gayle King interview of his adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow, so you get both points of view here. It's airing 2 weeks just after HBO concluded their docu-series, Allen versus Farrow. It was a shocking series. I watched it. It really brought up all the old allegations. It's a shocking show. Now, that's the reason this is being aired now. We don't get to see all the evidence, obviously. There has never been a trial. And so I don't want to say I'm giving somebody the benefit of the doubt because I believe he's guilty. But I was not a jury. I'm not a judge. I can tell you I can't watch Woody Allen films anymore.
Right. No, I totally agree with that too, and it does suck. But the mounting evidence against him, I mean, like it has never looked good. There has never been one point where we're like, you know what, he's pretty innocent.
Right. No, the mounting evidence, and what's shocking about this documentary too is it shows you how powerful men with lots of money and a PR machine behind them can change the dialogue. Now, I've worked in the publicity business, so I've seen the power of a PR office, but this is something that I've never seen. It was so dark and sinister, and for him to be able to paint the scene of a woman who was vengeful and angry and out for revenge was something so powerful that I think it caught on, and we looked at her, Mia Farrow, as the crazy one, not Woody.
And I was thinking about this too as I was looking up the stories again last night. He's a film director. His job is to tell a story. His job is to cater a story to whatever way possible he wants. You know what I mean? So especially in a situation like this, I mean, same thing with look at Harvey Weinstein too. He's a film producer. What are their jobs? To create
stories and
exactly.
images and dialogues and narratives. It's wild. So this new interview is out. I don't know, CBS. You didn't air it a year ago for a reason. They're billing it as his first big interview in nearly 30 years for a US audience. But they knew last year that something was up because this has been sitting on the shelves for a year. So to air it now, I don't know. I don't think
they need that bridge until Oprah gets the Britney Spears interview.
Oh, gosh, Oprah. I know. Britney. Do you know what else? Some gossip. I'm told her people have reached out to Kim Kardashian, her first post-divorce interview. I want to hear it. I do. I want Britney. I also think I still want Lori Loughlin. I do. Well, I want that Lori interview. Oh.
Well, you know what? I have a story coming up just in a second about her daughter.
Let's get right into it.
All right. So Olivia Jade, Lori Loughlin's daughter, She's being publicly shamed. I wonder why. So she took to TikTok, sharing advice from a very inspirational woman. And of course, Olivia Jade caught up in the college scandal. Great like story on Netflix too about the whole thing over the past year and change. But here's what Olivia Jade said. She looked at me and said, "Olivia, it doesn't matter if I'm drowning in 60 feet of water and you're drowning in 30. We're both still drowning." And I think we're all very quick to judge, and I think we're all very quick to put people down. And I just want people to remember, if your feelings are hurting, if they're valid to you, they're valid. So it doesn't matter if someone is going through something worse. You're allowed to have a hard time in this world, but that doesn't take away from somebody else, and that shouldn't take away from you. We're all human beings, which is very true. But at the other side of it, when you're having a downside, you're allowed to be down. But when you work your ass off to try to get into a prestigious college and mommy and daddy dip into their pockets and say, pay through the back door just so you can get in, that's a little bit different.
Yes, absolutely. I would shut up if you are listening, Olivia. Hello. You're not doing yourself any favours. Last year, about a year ago, remember she did the Red Table talk and she took complete responsibility. It was an amazing interview. I really felt for her. I was willing to move along, and now she's done this. It's complete opposite interview as what she did a year ago. Now she's saying, poor me, and it doesn't matter if your problems are worse than mine or better than mine.
Right.
I'm entitled to my feelings, which is true.
You are, yeah.
But this isn't what you're saying. You're saying there's nothing to distinguish levels of bad behaviour, and there clearly is. There are levels that go from being silly and naughty and mean to being outright criminal and dangerous and totally wrong. And so, Olivia, I would move on with your life and I would stop talking about this. What would you recommend?
Go to school. I mean, go find a school that would take you at this point.
Go find a school. Quickly, before we go to break, there's a lovely picture the Palace put out of Kate Middleton. So they're fighting back in their own way. This is a PR war now between Kate and Meghan. So they released a lovely picture. It's Kate in the garden wearing jeans. Yes, she has jeans. She has a red sweater on and she's got a camera in her hand. Expect more of these candid, no pun, pictures released by the Palace. They want us to love Kate and William. We do. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Naughty But Nice Show. I'm Rob Shooter with our friend Garrett Vogel. Hey, Garrett, let's get to the polls.
I love polls. Boom.
Thank you. Kelly Ripa can actually see life without hosting live. She's finally at that point where she can see the next chapter. We're not saying she's leaving tomorrow, but you know in your life when you're suddenly like, oh, I could move on. It takes me a while to get there, but once the seed is planted and it grows, I'm like, oh, I could see life in a different place. So what do you think about this? Would you watch live if Kelly left? 66% of you said yes.
Wow.
I would too. I like Ryan Seacrest.
Yep.
I like a new host. Yeah, I never thought I'd watch it after Regis left, after Kathy Lee left, but the transition was seamless, and I enjoy that show in the morning. Where are you, Garrett?
There was just that Michael Strahan hiccup, but,
I liked him.
I did too, but it wasn't as seamless.
She didn't like him, but we did. Don't forget to vote on today's poll. Go to our Twitter page at Naughty Nice Rob, our Facebook page is Naughty Gossip, and be sure to check back tomorrow to hear your results. Now it's time for a nice season for the day.
Yes. All right. So Rob Shooter, let's go house hunting, and we'll go buy the Schitt's Creek Motel for $1.6 million. It just hit the market, right? So it's actually named the Hockley Hotel. It's in Ontario because, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're very well tapped into how movies and TV are made. But a lot of TV and movies are made up in Canada because it's a hell of a lot cheaper than it is to do here in the States. Exactly.
That's right.
So it used to be a place where they put Canadian basketball recruits, which
Even better.
You got to think. Canada not known for its basketball, more hockey. So imagine what they put the hockey players in at that point. The motel sits on 6.7 acres along the banks of the river. It has 6 units, not a lot though. I mean, but I guess it's small and quaint. Maybe we can turn it into like a bed and breakfast, a little B&B.
Nice.
I'll run. You be the front of the house and you welcome people. Each with a bedroom and bathroom on 4,300 square feet. The Fish Out of Water series, of course, followed a wealthy family, Schitt's Creek, of course, that fell on hard times, and they pretty much moved into the hotel. If given the opportunity and the money, I love the show. I think I would move into the hotel.
Yeah, I'd turn it into a museum for the show, and I'd try to recreate all the scenes. I'd see if I could get the cast to come up and cut a ribbon. What's interesting, though, is I love that the family fell upon hard times, so they had to move into this hotel, which they owned. Now we find out the property is worth $1.6 million, so don't feel bad for them.
Well,
That's
like
a lot
Bitcoin.
of money.
It's like Bitcoin. Like you bought Bitcoin for like $2 about like 45 years ago, and now it's like
that's a lot of money.
$3
That's a lot of
billion.
money. The naughtiest today, naughty. Sharon Stone is alleging that a surgeon increased her breast size without permission. So in her new book, she went in to have surgery to remove a benign tumor, and when she woke up, the doctor had given her bigger breasts, at least one full cup size bigger. She was not happy about it, and he said he did it because he thought they would look better.
Well,
Crazy story.
Who's telling this? Who's telling the truth here? Like this. Like I hate being the judge here, but I feel like I have to be the judge. Like who's telling the truth?
I don't want to think Sharon put a little lie in her book, but there's something very strange about this story.
Big time.
How you go in to clean your teeth and you come out with a new
with a new nose.
With a new nose? Like you did my nose? There's something wrong about this one. But Sharon, this story is the naughtiest today. Naughty. And now it's time for a moment of Rob. You go to Rob. We try to make you laugh or giggle for 10, 15, 20 minutes with celebrity gossip, but we're a little bit more serious for a moment. Today's moment of Rob. By failing to prepare, you are always preparing to fail. That easy. You gotta prepare. I prepare for this podcast. I prepare when I go on TV. Do the work. There is no way around it.
Well said.
No way. You gotta do the work. By failing to prepare, you are always preparing to fail. That's it for today. Hey, somebody that never fails, our dear friend Garrett. We love having you every Monday. And thank you for listening to the Naughty But Nice with Rob and Garrett show, a production of iHeartRadio. Don't forget to subscribe on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Leave us a review if you can. And remember, if you're going to be naughty, you've got to be nice.
It's Naughty But Nice with Rob.
New hot and iced Sunrise Batch Coffee from Dunkin'. A bright and balanced, full-bodied blend brewed so you can get summering from sunrise to sunset. And even after that, because that's when you can show off those string lights you hung in the backyard. Or rehung. Enjoy a medium, hotter iced Sunrise Batch Coffee for $2. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
I'm Malcolm Gladwell, here to warn you. Revisionist History's new season is completely unbound. I play chicken with cars. An Oscar winner remakes a fairy tale. I dive into your dirty laundry. I haven't decided who we rile up most. College presidents or Disney executives? You'll have to hear for yourself. Listen to Revisionist History on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen.